Welcome to Nice and Blunt. Let's make some win-loss picks for week 1 of the NFL. Football is finally back. Very excited, and I can't wait to get going. Thursday night, going to be a really fun game. Could be similar to that Rams-Chiefs game. Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes was a barn burner the first time around. So, going to be exciting. The lack of Chris Jones on the defensive front definitely going to play into the hand of the Lions offense. They should be really good even without Jameson Williams, but I can't pick against the Chiefs. That feels a little bit unwise. So I will take Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, especially early on in the season. Reid is usually a genius, and their offense should be humming. So high-scoring game here. Definitely want to hit the over, but I will take the Chiefs despite being the favorite. On Sunday, I will take Atlanta over Carolina. I think the Falcons going to really have a coming-out party for Bijan Robinson. That running attack is going to be elite. And while I do worry about J.C. Horn on Drake London, I think Kyle Pitts should be effective, and Desmond Ridder doesn't need to do too much in order to win. I'm a little bit worried about Frank Reich's teams early on in the season. He is notoriously a slow starter. They often start off with a lot of losses in the month of September. So that's going to be more of the same. The Panthers and a rookie quarterback going to have a rough game on Sunday in week 1. But in Cleveland versus the Bengals, the smart people are probably going to take Joe Burrow, but because he's coming off of that calf strain, I'm a little worried about it. I think there's going to be a little bit of rust, and I do think Deshaun Watson has a chip on his shoulder. I think Nick Chubb is going to be elite, and these games are usually very high scoring, usually pretty close. Myles Garrett going to give Joe Burrow a very tough time. So I will take the Browns in upset fashion. I think they'll get it done. Week 1 at home, the lack of practice time for Joe Burrow is, I think, the tiebreaker when it comes to making my decision. But in Indianapolis, the Colts take on the Jaguars, and I don't think Anthony Richardson has the answers, especially without Jonathan Taylor. That is going to be a big bummer for that offense. That run game going to be very mediocre. So I'm going to take the better team, better quarterback, better overall offense, defense. I will take the Jags very comfortably on the road. Trevor Lawrence going to get off to a hot start, and Calvin Ridley going to remind everyone what he can do in the NFL. That one feels like an easy pick, the Jags over the Colts. But in Minnesota, this one also feels very easy. The Vikings kind of owned the Packers in week 1 last season, and this week they get the Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield. No thank you. There's no way I'm taking the Bucs, even if they're all fully healthy. And, we haven't quite seen how terrible they can be. I trust Justin Jefferson. I trust TJ Hawkinson. And I also trust Jordan Addison. I think Kirk Cousins is going to light it up, throw for over 300 yards. I am worried about Madison. Kind of a tough matchup here against the notoriously good Bucs run defense. But I don't think it matters. I think the passing game gets it done. Give me the Vikings at home. But then in New Orleans, they take on the Tennessee Titans, and Derrick Henry notoriously starts kind of slow. I do like the fact that Tannehill and DeAndre Hopkins are fully healthy right now. That's definitely an advantage for the passing game. But I think Derek Carr is going to start off red hot. He has a big chip on his shoulder after being traded away from the Raiders, and that connection with Chris Olave really going to be dominant against a porous Titans secondary. So it could be a Titans victory here. I wouldn't be totally shocked to see that, especially without Kamara. The Saints offense isn't up to 100%, but Jamal Williams will get it done. Jamal Williams will possibly score 2 rushing touchdowns of his own. I will take the Saints in pretty comfortable fashion. I feel pretty confident that will be the case. But the Steelers take on the Niners. Going to be a very entertaining matchup, very close game. And most people are probably going to take the Niners. I'm thinking that's probably where most people are going. However, I am taking the Steelers. At home, coming off of a 7-2 finish to last season. I think Kenny Pickett looked amazing in the preseason. And I know it's just preseason, but they have really good weapons. They have an elite defense. TJ Watt is fully healthy. And Brock Purdy is coming off of elbow surgery. I think he's going to be a little bit rusty in week 1. I could see some turnovers for Purdy. I think their offense is going to look a little ugly at the start of the season. So against such a good defense, I will take the loss for San Francisco. Give me the Steelers at home to upset the Niners. But in Washington versus the Arizona Cardinals, I have very low expectations for both Arizona and the Commanders this season. But one of these teams has to win. Wouldn't shock me if it was Arizona at this point in the season. At least the players aren't expecting to tank. It hasn't quite set in how bad they're really going to be. But they have Josh Dobbs at quarterback. And as much as I don't trust Sam Howell, I will take the Commanders. I think their defense going to show up and pay some good dividends. At home with a new owner, I think the crowd is going to be into it, and that home field advantage is really the tiebreaker, in my opinion. But this could go either way. However, the Cardinals are a little bit more incentivized to tank. That's probably going to be the case. So give me the Commanders, but I don't want to watch this game. Not entertained at all. But Baltimore takes on Houston in probably the most overwhelming advantage of the week. I think the Baltimore Ravens will absolutely dominate in this game. They have a 10-point spread in favor of them winning. And the Houston Texans' run defense is a terrible, terrible weakness. They were dead last season. They were third worst the season prior. And then back in 2020, they were also the league's worst rushing defense. So there are systemic issues, terrible problems with Houston's run defense, and a defensive head coach and Will Anderson, selected number 3 overall, is not going to change that in just one offseason. So I have no confidence that they can stop Lamar Jackson or even J.K. Dobbins. I think Gus Edwards probably going to have a good game too, and I think that run game for the Ravens just going to be too overwhelming for C.J. Stroud to come back from. So give me the Ravens. That one feels like an automatic dub. That one feels very easy. But in Chicago, very interesting game. Jordan Love versus Justin Fields. Kind of a new look offense for both teams with DJ Moore added to the mix in Chicago, a healthy Darnell Mooney, and Robert Tonyan in a revenge matchup. We'll see what he can... Whoa, bit of a... I don't know if you heard that. There was a massive honk outside. But we'll see what Robert Tonyan can do in his revenge game. Maybe he'll contribute, maybe score a touchdown. But overall, I just don't feel confident in Jordan Love. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he surprises me, but I think it's a massive drop-off from Aaron Rodgers. And despite this team being spoiled for the last 30 years with Rodgers and Favre, I think it's going to be a rude awakening when they can't beat the Bears, even on the road. So the Bears going to have an emotional win here. They're tired of losing to the Packers, especially at home. Give me Chicago at home over the Green Bay Packers. But Las Vegas goes on the road to take on Denver, and without Jerry Jeudy, I do worry tremendously about that Broncos offense. It was terrible last year. The defense is great, but without those weapons, it's going to be really tough sledding. I'm not too confident in Cortland Sutton. Maybe Marvin Mims can get the job done, but they don't have Tim Patrick either, and Javonte might be a little bit sluggish early on in the season. They might need to lean on Samaje Perine a little bit extra. So I see a low-scoring game here. I don't think either team is going to score a ton of points, but I do think because Jimmy G is healthy and because they can strike while the iron is hot, I am going to take the Raiders in upset fashion. I think Devontae Adams going to give Patrick Surtain a bit of a hard time. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the defense for Denver really clamps down, but Josh Jacobs is also kind of a nightmare to handle, and I think they will get it done in the run game. So give me Las Vegas over Denver. Going to be a close one, but I will take the upset. However, in New England, they're going to honor Tom Brady, but they have to face off against the Eagles, who were just in the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles have a very, very good team. I mean, there's like no holes on their roster, and then their defensive line got upgraded in the first round of the draft with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. So that is a nightmare to handle, and I think it's just going to be too much for Mac Jones to compete with. I see a very close game, however. I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots somehow squeaked it out. Usually, Belichick finds a way to make it a lot closer than you think. So even though the Eagles have the better team, it should be a very close one. I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 1-point game when it's all said and done, but I will take the Eagles. I just can't go with the Patriots as much as I want to. I'm very tempted to take the upset here, but I will stick with the Eagles. Their offense, their defense, just too solid all the way around. hard to pick against them. But in LA, my Chargers take on the Dolphins, and their defense exposed Tua last season by playing press man coverage. They have J.C. Jackson relatively healthy to start the season, and I think their offense with Kellen Moore going to be a nightmare to deal with. The Dolphins do not have Jalen Ramsey, and there's just too many receivers to handle. So I will take my Chargers at home. Not much of a home field advantage, but it is still something. I think they're going to be really good, really effective in week one. And while I might be a little biased, I'm going with my Chargers. I feel pretty confident about that one. Herbert was drafted behind Tua, and he wants to remind everyone why that shouldn't have been the case. But Seattle takes on the Rams at home, and if Cooper Kupp was fully healthy, I'd be tempted to go with the Rams, but there's really not anyone that you're like really that confident in on the Rams offense, and especially the defense, other than Aaron Donald, that's extremely unproven. A lot of rookies on this team, and Seattle's offense, defense, very much upgraded via the draft and free agency. So Bobby Wagner gonna really pay some dividends here, and I think Kenneth Walker gonna have an elite second half. I think there's gonna be a lot of rush attempts, very good game script, as the Seahawks have at least a 2-score lead in the third and fourth quarter. So give me Seattle pretty comfortably. The 12th man gonna be a big factor, hard to overcome for the Rams. But in New York, the Giants take on Dallas. That one should be very, very entertaining. That game always is a good rivalry, and I have very low confidence in Mike McCarthy early on in the season. I think by week 6, week 7, it's possible he gets fired in favor of Dan Quinn, and this game's going to start off that losing streak. I see the Giants getting the victory at home over the Cowboys. I think Waller is a matchup nightmare. Everyone's healthy, and Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley going to find a way in the run game. So at home, I will take the Giants, and that is my gut telling me to pick against the Cowboys. But on Monday, the last game of the week, Buffalo takes on the Jets in New Jersey, and with Breece Hall kind of easing his way back in to the mix, I'm a little bit worried about the run scheme. The Bills' run defense is elite, and while they do not have Von Miller for this game, they can really exploit the Jets' suspect offensive line. That is definitely the weakness for the Jets. So I'm going to go with Josh Allen. I think even with Sauce Gardner covering Stephon Diggs, I think they'll be fine. I see a high-scoring game here. I will take Buffalo on the road over the Jets. So those are my picks this week. A ton of home games, home victories, which when I see all laid out here, it looks a little bit weird, but that's kind of the home field advantage factor, and especially in week one, I'm just going with my gut. We have yet to see these teams this season, and I might look stupid. I might make a lot of bad calls, but I feel pretty good about this list. I feel pretty solid about all of these picks. So I'm taking the Chiefs over the Lions, the Falcons over the Panthers, the Browns over the Bengals, the Jaguars over the Colts, the Vikings over the Buccaneers, the Saints over the Titans, the Steelers over the 49ers, the Commanders over the Cardinals, the Ravens over the Texans, the Bears over the Packers, the Raiders over the Broncos, the Eagles over the Patriots, the Chargers over the Dolphins, the Seahawks over the Rams, the Giants over the Cowboys, and the Bills over the Jets. Those are my picks this week. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And for those of you who are making some bets, if you want some picks against the spread, let me give you 5 that I would make myself. I picked Pittsburgh to win straight up, so they're an underdog. I will take them plus 2.5 points. I'm also taking Cleveland to win straight out, so I'll take the Browns plus 2.5. I will take the Raiders plus 4. I think they win this game straight up. I'm also taking the Giants plus 3.5. I do not see them losing at home. And then the last pick, my 5th pick this week, I will take the Patriots plus 3.5. While I do not think they win, I think it's going to be a very close game, definitely within a field goal, probably a 1-point game when it's all said and done. So 3.5 points for the Patriots. Give them to me. Those are my 5 bets this week, and I wish you luck. I hope we all bring home some money when it comes to our gambling this week. But that's it for week 1. I'll see you in week 2. If you're interested in my rankings this week and all of my start-sit decisions, then subscribe to this channel for more content. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and I will see you next time. My name is Adam Riancho, and thank you for watching Nice and Blunt.